two different classes, Class A for the 182s, Class B for the more modern, the heavier 197 and 200s. But the race gets underway with the red lights going out. Not a good start by Joshua North on pole position. It's Darren Ransom from the outside of the front row that makes the best of the starts, and North might lose. Yeah, he's lost 3 places in all here and has gone down to 4th position, because it looks like Chris Lawrence, number 56, has gone through to 2nd place, and Pete O'Connor in 72 has gone through to 3rd. In fact, North has lost another position as well. I think that's Matt Hipkins, the championship leader. He's got through to 5th place, but a really slow start from North.
And someone got a fly. Joseph De Prato in 29 from down the field. He went past 3 or 4 cars off the line, absolutely fired away. But it's that blue car that leads the way, which is Darren Ransom. And that's Chris Lawrence in 2nd place, isn't it?
Yes.
In the works, the worked BTCC livery of yore.
Absolutely right. So he's a champion of the past, and he's made a very good
massive lock-up. One's gone off at Rocket.
Yeah, straight on, actually, all the way. That's North. That's our pole position driver.
And he'd locked up all the way up the hill. He locked up, and there was a plume of smoke and flying off. So he's got back going again, but his challenge is shot.
He's gone from first to last, hasn't he? In half a lap.
0 to 0.
Absolutely. So he's got work to do from the back of the grid. It's been a shake-up up front. We've got 3 for the lead, with the pack having been split then as they come down through the corkscrew. It's Darren Ransom, number 30 then, that has the advantage. Winner of 2 races so far this season. 2nd place is number 56, Chris Lawrence, and Pete O'Connor is in 3rd place, number 72. Then Mark Witherington it should be, is in 4th spot, and he's leading in Class A, so he's got ahead of Greg Hill. He's made a very good start, and somewhere along the lines, Matt Hipkins lost a bit of ground. He was briefly 4th. Possibly he was distracted by the big lockup for Joshua North or something like that, and he's dropped back a bit to 6th position behind Greg Hill. So Mark Witherington, number 80, not Mark Errington as it says on the screen, leading in Class A at the moment. So the cars making their way up towards the Rocket and Peel complex, and it's Ransom out front at the moment, number 30, the driver from Hastings, an experienced campaigner now in the Clios. He's been racing in this championship for many seasons. He's ahead of Chris Lawrence, who was the 2023 champion in this category, and then Pete O'Connor is 3rd. He was the 2024 champion. So he's got some experienced hands behind him. Both Lawrence and O'Connor won from Class A in the 182s, and they've graduated to the 197 200s in Class B. In fact, Ransom also did the same as well. He was 2nd in the championship last year. He was 3rd the year before. So looking to go 3-2-1 and win the championship this season. He's got a bit of work to do because he had a non-finish in the opening race of the season at Croft. That was a triple header, but he did come back to win in round 2. And it was Joshua North that won rounds 3 and 4, and Ransom that won round 5. What of Joshua North? Well, he came into the pits, I think, at the end, or maybe he finished the pits and went back out again, possibly, looking at our timing screens. So it's Ransom, Lawrence and O'Connor out in front, and still then Witherington, the best of the Class A cars, in 4th position overall, as they round the second part of Rocky. You can see how stiff the breeze is with the way the grass is blowing. It really is very blustery out there today. And there's Greg Hill, and he's got a few cars up behind him now. He's got the 29 car of Joe De Prato and the 28 car of Taylor Norton there. So Greg Hill, the radio control racer, has got his hands full. He's got a black and orange warning flag going out now, and that's to the 111 car, which is who? We don't have a 111. We have an 11, which is David Redshaw. But I think his door may be open after some contact earlier on in the race, and that's why he's being shown the meatball flag. Look at this, Greg Hill has got those cars behind him. He's also got Joshua North, who is starting to make some progress back through the field by the looks of it. I think his transponder must have stopped working because he's in a position on track that does not correspond with his position in the race. Also, you can see here Mark Witherington in number 18 has got the Matt Hipkins car behind him. He's the man that's leading Class B in the championship. So 2 different classes there, and the points scored according to your class position, not overall position. But Mark Witherington, he'd be keen to keep that car, that Class B car behind him, Marcus, as a shield.
Yes, absolutely. The buffer back to Greg Hill in the emerald green car. Greg Hill, son of the late great Mick Hill, super saloon hero of the 1970s with his big Capri V8s and a multitude of cars after that. The VW Beetle Chevrolet was another of his great creations. But Greg's had a good season. Here's a super battle going on for the lead. It's 3 for the lead now.
Yeah, and they're coming through Target, the first corner, and the thought Chris Lawrence was going to just sneak his way up the inside of Darren Ransom there into the first corner. Pete O'Connor right with them as well, and it's side by side here a bit further back as Matt Hipkins is trying to relieve Mark Witherington of his 4th position overall. You can see there's a bit of a size difference in the cars. The 182 a slightly smaller car, and with the Hipkins they're trying to drive all the way around the outside. But here are the 3 leads. It looks like Ransom's got slightly more of an advantage as they head up past the racing school, and then you've got this next group. You can see Greg Hill also still has his hands full of 2 or 3 cars behind him.
Yes, that's right. And there's O'Connor having a little nibble at the back of Lawrence as he goes through Rocket. He's quicker than Lawrence in some parts of the circuit, but then it all unwinds and goes the other way. So overall, the lap time is very similar. Touching the grass there on the inside, just kicking a bit of dust, is our race leader, which is Darren Ransom in the blue car. Down through the corkscrew they come. And anyone's going between these 3, and then the next 3. Greg Hill's actually snuck closer to the pair he's been dicing with, and I think that Witherington's got back past, hasn't he?
So Witherington's lost out to Hipkins, I think. So you've now got the 2 Class A leaders together. You're seeing them on screen.
Yes, Hipkins
now.
has gone past. There you go.
Witherington in the red and white and blue car, and Hipkins in the Greg Hill in the green car. Just behind. So we've got the Class B and Class A leaders now right together in this 6th round of the championship, a double header this weekend for rounds 6 and 7. After meetings at Crofton and Silverstone so far, they go to Alton, Snetterton and Donington in the second half of the season. Alton on the 25th of July. These 3 leaders climbing up towards Rocket and Peel once again. It looks like O'Connor is a little bit closer to Lawrence than Lawrence is to Ransom. O'Connor in that number 72 car, man from Bristol, works in IT and finance, 43 years of age. Started car racing in 2022, having done some Club 100 and Arrive and Drive karting. A bit of production BMW quite a few years ago now as well.
Come the leaders again, and Ransom just beginning to eke out a little bit of a gap to Lawrence. He's got his hands full of O'Connor. There's the next group coming through with Hipkins ahead of the next man through there, which is Witherington, then Hill.
And Joshua North is back in the pit lane as well, so having made some progress through the order, he's back into the pit lane once again. Of course, he had that bad start, then he locked up dramatically into Rocket on the first lap, and he's driving straight through by the looks of it.
Weird line by one of the bright yellow cars, sort of kind of veered from side to side of the track coming past the pits. Couldn't see what that was about.
Past our commentary position comes the number 11 car of David Redshaw. There's our race leader though, Darren Ransom here, and he looking for his 3rd win of the season, tied to wins at Crofton and Silverstone.
Hill's very keen to keep Taylor Norton behind him, isn't he? And Taylor Norton looks quite threatening at some parts of the circuit.
Yeah, we'll see if we can pick up on that Class A battle in a moment or two. 5.5 minutes of this race remain. It's Class A, of course, that has the overall championship leader in it, Greg Hill, and Stephen Richardson, who's not here competing this weekend. but Taylor Norton is third within Class A points coming into this weekend. Class B cars, the top three overall, I'd say they're a bit more spread out now. There's just over 2 seconds covering the three of them. It's looking a bit closer now in Class A, and we're just seeing these cars run in towards our view at target, and it's Witherington with about 0.8 of a second over Greg Hill and Taylor Norton. Those three together are class leaders.
Yes, that time Hipkins did his best lap, 1:23.578. Behind them, Witherington 24.4, 24.7 for Hill, 24.7 for Norton. So it's much for muchness, but they are losing out fractionally to Matt Hipkins, who runs fourth.
Witherington's not had a podium as yet this season, so looking to correct that with a win here. He did win at Mallory Park at the end of last season. His first win altogether, but his first of this year potentially, if it stays this way. But Greg Hill and Taylor Norton, for that matter, both of whom have had podiums, will be trying to prevent that from happening. Greg Hill, winner of the last 2 races at Silverstone, and Taylor Norton's been on the podium 3 times this season already.
How many races at Silverstone did Mick Hill win back in the day? Pretty much every one he entered for a number of years. Those 2 Capri V8s.
Greg Roy racing something a bit more modest in the Clio 182, and is doing it really well here, but is working hard to keep Taylor Norton behind in that number 28 car, the Londoner.
Is he drawing his way fractionally closer to Witherington? Yes, a 10th or so last time back, clawed back.
Witherington, the 42-year-old from Malton Mowbray, an Autosmart franchisee. He started racing 20 years ago with the MG Owners Club for 3 years in an MGB initially. He's done some track day trophy and Enduro car racing, and did the Keep 6-hour race last year as well in a Lotus 6. And this car was built by someone else but never raced. He prepares the car himself, as many of the drivers do.
Interesting, because Greg Hill now has closed right in on Mark Witherington. Here they come, working their way out of Rocket. Of course, momentum is everything going uphill in cars which are not particularly high powered.
And then through Peel.
Wonder if Greg Hill's looked after his tyres very well in the early laps of this race. Now has a little bit more grip, a little flash of the lights for O'Connor on Lawrence, and Hill is trying really hard to unseat Witherington. Witherington is washed a little bit wide, and this is going to mean that Greg Hill can get back on the power, stab the power a little bit early coming out of that final corner. He's in the slipstream now. He's not close enough to challenge into target, but at the end of the day he may get a very good run out of the banked hairpin here. It's all about turning in really late at a lot of these corners and getting back on the power early, because it's exit dependent, speed dependent. You carry a bit more speed out, you're going to magnify that all the way to the next slow part of the track.
We're hearing from Leon Morel after the previous race that he said the circuit was eating the tyres basically. He wasn't expecting any track records. Well, actually, Darren Ransom's best one, 1:22.149, only fractionally outside the Class B lap record, which is 1:22.10.
Yeah, different type of car, I suppose, and here they come again. They're not quite tripping over each other, but Greg Hill just looking to tuck the nose of that emerald green car in under Mark Witherington's.
Yeah, through Peel and again Taylor Norton. Selecting a different line. Here comes Greg Hill down the inside into the corkscrew. Seizes his chance, mirror to mirror here. He's going to be on the outside line for the next part of the corner though.
Has to cede.
Or does he? Because the next part's a left-hander. And they're going to be side by side again, almost on 2 wheels there was Greg Hill. He's certainly putting some effort into getting the lead here. The danger is he's going to lose out to Taylor Norton.
Yeah, Norton was good though. He didn't scrape the back bumper and destabilise the car of Greg Hill. They come up into the hairpin again, and this is an enduring tussle.
It's the last lap of the race as well. Already our overall leader Darren Ransom is on to his last lap. He's up at Rocket already, and he is 2 seconds clear of anybody else. There he is, just going through shot there ahead of Lawrence and O'Connor, who are still disputing second position quite intensely. And then Hipkins we saw a brief shot of in third, and then it's going to be the Class A battlers heading up the hill. I'm just keeping an eye on them out of our commentary box window. They're not changing order into Rocket, as Darren Ransom is about to come down through the corkscrew. Here he is.
Yeah, it's clever, isn't it? You can see that camera angle. Here comes Darren Ransom. He's made it look very comfortable. Chris Lawrence and Pete O'Connor still chasing in vain. But here he comes then, Darren Ransom with the P&J Motors car, ducks across towards the pit wall to celebrate, and he's made it. But what of that next battle?
Yeah, they're just coming down through the corkscrew, I can tell you, and it's still the same order as it was. Witherington, Hill and Norton through the final corner now, and I think it's going to stay that way. It's too short a run for the line for Greg Hill to win a drag race. So it's going to be Mark Witherington that takes his first class win, indeed first podium of the season in Class A, from Greg Hill and Taylor Norton. So Darren Ransom makes it 3 wins so far this season, overall with a 2.1 second win over Chris Lawrence and Pete O'Connor. Good battle still coming over the line actually, and it's going to be, I think, Oscar Swainton. Is he just going to hold on to the final position inside the top 10? Yes, but by less than a car length in the end over the number 58 car of Ryan Earl. There was only about a tenth of a second separating those two, and Chris Page as well, who grabbed 12th position. So everyone's now made it home. Let's take a look at the results from that race. Darren Ransom it was that took the win in car number 30 from Chris Lawrence 56 in second place, and Pete O'Connor third. All 3 of those in Class A. Class B I should say. Number 12 Matt Hipkins was 4th, and our Class A winner was number 18 Mark Witherington in 5th ahead of 75 Greg Hill and 28 Taylor Norton in 7th. 8th place to number 298 Scott Carruthers. In 9th place was 29 Joey DePrato. Completing the top 10 was number 51 Oscar Swainton, and the result has disappeared off our screens, so not going to be able to tell you any more about the result, but we've got through the top 10. So congratulations on Darren Ransom. Then I can see he's just heading down through the corkscrew now. He's going to turn sharp left into Parc Ferme, and as he's doing that, there's cars heading into the pit lane. Those are the classic stock hatch cars. They're going to have their practice or qualifying session now, 15-minute qualifying session. So I think we'll get this session underway probably while we're hearing from our drivers at the end of the Clio race. And I think we're ready, are we, in Parc Ferme? So we can go down already to Ben McCarthy. I wouldn't have found the 1, 2, 3 boards. That's very good news. Let's head down to Ben.
Thanks very much, Ian. What a race. What a race in the Clio Sport. And you can see there Darren Ransom getting out of his Renault Clio, struggling to do so, it must be said. We're going to speak to him in a moment. Just 2.7 seconds separating the top 3 at the end there. A fascinating race, it must be said. He goes over to shake hands there with Chris Lawrence. Let's go over and speak to him. To them both, in fact. Still exchanging a few words. He then goes and places his helmet in his Renault Clio. Darren, what a race! What a race! When you're in such a hot, intense race, are you just focusing on yourself, or is it too difficult to ignore the threat from behind?
Too hard to ignore that, yeah. Chris, I missed the gear coming through the corkscrew. I missed the gear, jumped out of gear, and he was right on me, and I thought, oh no, what have I done? But I just managed to manage it. The tyres, literally, after lap 3, 4, they're just gone. There's nothing. There's so much heat. But yeah, it's good though. Yeah, I was happy with that.
Well, congratulations. Take your cap. Enjoy that, as is customary at the 750 Motor Club. Best of luck. Chris Lawrence. Well, Darren said that was one difficult race. That's one way of putting it. I guess it's the same for you.
Yeah, I think he missed a gear as well, so I got a bit excited, but just had to keep cool, because this is the weather where you've got to just not overdrive the car, and round here is really grippy and quite a technical track. I had Pete in my mirrors, down in front, but I was just happy to be on the same pace. We had a couple of difficult weeks from the last round, but no, fully enjoyed that. want the podium, so second will do. See if we can get one more better in race 2 tomorrow.
I was going to say, how much confidence does that give you?
The car's there. I've just got to sort myself out, really. But yeah, the car's there. I've just got to get my head on and not overdrive it and not overthink things. So it's good.
Well, we look forward to seeing that tomorrow. Thank you very much. So then, Peter O'Connor, third place. We said earlier on, just before we started the interviews, 2.7 seconds separating the top 3. Does it feel as intense in the car as it does watching?
The start was, well, nothing else. Like, I got the inside of Josh, who was the pole man. We went round the first corner side by side. There's 3 abreast. And I'm like, and then the race was basically full chat. I couldn't go any quicker. We were within 3/10 of our fastest lap, so it was heavy going, yeah. No, I didn't get a chance to get Chris, but it was a decent set of points, yeah.
How difficult is overtaking after the first lap?
It ebbs and flows, right? You always got certain bits of the corners or the track that you're fast on. So Chris was fast around the last corner, which meant the straight was out. So the last bit was where I was quickest. But you'd have to be confident, or I'd have to be confident to avoid his dad if I did a repair bill. So it was a fine balance.
Wow, congratulations. What a race. What a show you put on for us. We look forward to seeing more of it tomorrow.
Just give a shout out to my 2 kiddies, Clio and Jake, who are watching. So see you soon.
We send our wishes as well. Now, our Class A champion, Mark Witherington, is somewhere, the number 18. Let's see if he is somewhere in Parc Ferme. I can't quite see his car just yet, but Mark Witherington beating Greg Hill by less than 0.2 of a second. So it was really close. We'll see if we can go and see him. Can't see the number 18 just yet. He may have headed out of Parc Ferme, but hope to those of you watching on Alpha Live, also those of you who are listening to the tannoy around Anglesey circuit, you've been absolutely treated to that race. We're going to take a brief pause from the racing as we have the Vulcan Racing Classic Stock Hatch Championship practice, which was meant to take place earlier on, but for that I'll head you back to Ian and Marcus.